Hi, welcome to Grey Wolf Adventuring. Today I'm going to show you how to build a fantasy map for all your Dungeons and Dragons or TTRPG needs, or just for a prop. They are a lot of fun. When you hand these to players, they generally do get excited. It's a physical item that they can interact with at the game table. So it's a really cool little gift. And also it'll help them visualise the world in which you're creating or they're exploring. What you will need to go about doing this is some kind of brown paper. With this one, I've browned it myself with just some coffee or tea or anything else. I've put like little bits of grease as well, kind of like smudged it in the dirt and all kinds of things like that. And obviously I've just used a red pen to make some little splotches of whatever that could be. You will also be needing some pens, different sizes, assortments and whatnot, just to add some variety. And you will need something to scatter. I'm going to use dice because they're different colours, and I'm going to be using that later. But you can use anything. You can use coffee beans, you could use pebbles, you could use whatever you have around that's helpful. What this does is help create randomness, but we'll go into the little bit more methodical process of that in a bit. Another thing that's going to be really, really helpful for you is having some kind of a reference image. So looking at like old pirate maps or anything like that, or generally things that you're interested in. We've all seen the map from Middle Earth in Lord of the Rings and other kind of places like that. So you want something just to kind of like keep you on track, basically, in the straight and narrow. But let's stop talking. Let's jump in. How do we do this? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these lighter coloured dice. I'm going to be using for the shoreline. In fact, we'll use all of these. We'll use these ones as well. So, and again, this depends on what kind of environment you want to create. Do you want a big expansive continent? Do you want an island chain, or do you want a little bit of both, adding a bit of a variety? I think what I'll do today is have like the side of some kind of landmass, then a few dotted islands as well, just to bring in that variety. But yeah, let's just jump in and see where we go, and let this thing inform itself, which is the fun thing about creating. So, here we go. Cool. I'm liking this already. So we've got this kind of an area here, and it's spitting out. So what I think, actually, have this a little bit like a peninsula. So we will start with it going out like here, coming in here, round here, and maybe in like this. Fantastic. And what you want to do, you do need variety in this, because when you just kind of go with the flow, make it into a blob, it doesn't look right. You need to have this kind of like squiggly patterns. I'm liking this already. Cool. We'll throw these again just to get a bit more variety, see what we can do. We can always build on this more as well. Okay, what have we got here? I'm going to put something there. That can be an island as well. Thinking something like this. Fantastic. The topography of the land will change depending on what scale you're going for. So if this is a very localised region, obviously you're going to have less mountains and whatnot in expanding out. You're going to have full mountain ranges. Right, what else? We will throw in a few of these blue dice, and what they can be are landmarks and other places of interest. So let's go with that. Okay, so that can go there. So we're going to have, I'm going to build a little castle here. And this can be a settlement, and so can this area here. Fantastic. Throw that back for now. So what else are we missing? This is beginning to look a lot like Cornwall in England, so try and add a bit of variety. We'll put some islands down here. I've already absolutely chucked, there we go. Chucked a dice. There we go. Like that. Fantastic. Liking this already. We will use some black dice. And this can be for hills and mountains and whatnot. So let's just see what happens here. I'm going to change it and I'm going to roll it like this and see what happens. Okay, that's cool. So we've got a mountainous region here. That's fantastic. And we'll do a couple of mountains here as well. So drawing mountains, just draw one after one another, like that. Fantastic. See, this is already becoming populated, which is what we wanted. I think when you start designing maps, it always ends up sparse, because you go, well, I've got these different settlements and I've got these places that I want my players to go to, but the real question is how do you fill in the in-between, because that's where the interesting stories and encounters are going to flourish randomly. You need to keep into account certain aspects of this, because it won't look realistic if you go a little bit too crazy with this kind of thing. Forests, valleys, rivers, mountains, they all form naturally. They are there for a specific reason, and so you need to ensure that that happens in your map as well. I'll pop a thing here. Look, oh wow, interesting, cool. See the river? That happens. Obviously, rivers are going to head from a mountainous region down to the coast. This is the point, is we've been inspired by the randomness of the dice, and then this is where we fill things in intelligently. So at the top here, we've got a mountain range. So we will have a river. We'll have two. We'll have a runoff coming from around here like this. And we can have a runoff coming along this side as well, coming down here. Now this doesn't have to be like overwhelmingly precise, but that's the point. And we'll have that arcing around there. Fantastic. Lovely. And then here as well, we're going to have a river forming there because of that hill, and then another river forming here. This area just reminds me of Cornwall now. We've got a castle there. Let's roll some more castle dice and see where they land. Okay, yeah, castle there. You know what, we're going to put one there. That makes sense, guarding the entrance of that river. And again, you know, you've got to think about things logically. Historically, we would guard the mouths of rivers because they could be used for invasion further inland. Take the Norse Vikings, for example. What I think I'd like to do is add a bit more texture. Yes, we're going to have some mountains coming along the centre here. So again, adding mountain range is very simple. Just start with one mountain, or maybe another one here, and then just connect them up like that. Fantastic. And that seems to make sense. So you can see that there's a mountain range here, here, and then kind of coming round here like this and there. So we can see that over time, this river has slowly eroded the mountains around here. Lovely. What else can we add? We will add some trees. So, where do forests form? Forests need a few things. They need lush vegetation to feed themselves off, and they also need water. They're going to be around either streams, rivers, or behind or near mountains, because the idea is that the mountain will trap the water in the clouds and force it to precipitate over that area. This is a reason why, for instance, we have the Mongolian plains, because the Himalayas block all that moisture from coming up from the south, and therefore we have a dry, arid place that can only inhabit certain lifestyles. I'm seeing this like Cornwall now. So if we have weather coming in from the southwest, it would mean that mountains and trees would be around this area here and around here. And once again, what do forests have in them? They have animals, and animals and plants are used by humans or civilizations of that ilk to feed themselves. It would make sense that a village or town of some description would have a forest near it, because where else are you going to hunt for game? Again, I'm not going to put a million years into this because it's just to show you lot today, but hopefully, you know, it can show you how to begin, and then you can put a little bit more time into the actual kind of artistic process, making this map look legitimate and full. So I'm liking the idea of there being plains here. We'll build this forest a little bit further out. That's looking good, and a bit further down as well, like that. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Draw some actual lines here. So I'll draw over this with the thick pen. This is going to be the coastline, obviously. It's not the most cleanest of drawings, that's fine, because it's all part of the feel of the map. We want this to feel like it's been used at all. You know, it's not a picture perfect thing that you're going to frame. This hopefully at some point is going to be knocked around and looking like this, because that looks so much more legit than something that is absolutely perfect. We will colour in these sections as well with a black felt tip, a bit slightly thinner so we can have variation. And we've got a river running along here. Fantastic. And yeah, let's keep going. The river. And I'm going to draw in with the thick brush these buildings, but I'm going to leave the rest because that's quite fine detailed and we want a variety as well. Lovely, and then a castle here as well. Right, we're really getting there now. What I'm going to do is build up these settlements a little bit more. So I'm thinking these two castles here will purely be castles, they're fortifications, but this one down here, I'm thinking I'm going to add a little village around it. Again, you can go into as much detail as you want about this, but I'm just going to do this quickly. Same with these two settlements here. Let's add a few more boxes. Let's make it random. Like that, and have it a variety, so these two settlements are like of a similar size, meanwhile this one's a little bit smaller with those two there. I'm going to look at some fantasy names. There's a really good generator online that I absolutely adore, so we're going to use that. Places and locations, city and town names, there we go. Wow, so much to choose from. There we go. Eblia, there we go. So this is going to be called Eblia. Fly set, I like that a lot. Using fantasy name generators are helpful and will inspire you a lot, but you've got to remember as well the reason why cities and towns and settlements are called what they are is because of the relationship people have with the land around them. There's a reason why certain places are called what they are. If you want to be able to add some real depth to your world building, I definitely would contemplate why it's called the way it is. With this map I have here, Dawnbreak is on the far east. That should be pretty self-explanatory. Hillstead as well, which is on a collection of hills, would you believe? All these things they make sense subconsciously, and so it makes that world building that little bit more intriguing and digestible, I think is the best way to put it. So where were we? You know what, this one's out here, so I'm going to call this one, it sounds pretty generic, but I'm going to call it Far Reach. With that as well, I'm going to spell it Fareach, because people would have originally said, oh yeah, it's a far reach to get to, and as people wrote it over and over and over again, they wouldn't want to use the R letter twice, so eventually one of them would have just been gotten rid of. This is very similar to what happens in America historically, but that's more to do with capitalism and the fact that the newspapers there are charged by the letter rather than the word, which is quite interesting. Right, how far are we along with this? Getting pretty good there, pretty good. We'll name these castles. Well, this is to the north, so I'm thinking Northelm. It's called Northelm. And this south one, it'll be a bit on the nose to call one something with the north and one something about the south. And usually castles, if they weren't named after a location, they were named after a family or somebody that built it. So I think what we will actually do is we'll name this one, because it's right next to the sea, we're going to call it Seafolk. fantastic. And now this place is really beginning to kind of create itself, which is absolutely brilliant. Before we forget, actually, one thing we need to do is put a compass in the corner, because that's fun. Usually I just do a little quick see, because I like the idea that someone's, it's the person that made this isn't an expert and isn't taking meticulous time to create something like this. Traditionally, any kind of elite map making would have been for a king. So the maps that your average adventurer will own or come in contact with is probably quite lacking in a lot of detail, or maybe some places aren't where they're supposed to be at all, which will add a whole other element where the players realise that, oh, just because we've got something physical doesn't mean it is set in stone. This is a prop just as much as my character is a part of this world. But anyway, north, south, west. Let's add a distance marker. I think that would be smart. So with this we can decide how far we can travel in a day. We'll do mile marker. So something like this. Let's put that down there. Mile, there we go. Fantastic. Just little things like that will help people a lot. Right, what else are we going to add here? You know what? Now comes to the distressing period. So what we're going to do is it's almost like ASMR this now. There. Fantastic. I'm liking this a lot. And then we'll fold it as well, because that's what, how we don't carry a map. Do it like this, and like this. Yeah, there we go. Lovely. Hold it out again. Put it upside down. That is, and again, just already doing that. Absolutely fantastic. We should add some colour, shouldn't we? And this is where, you can go as detailed or as artistic as you'd like. Something like this would be quite cool if it was coloured in with the greenery of the land and whatnot. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to use this red, and I'm just going to steal what I've done here, whereas there's probably been something spilt, probably from somebody. But we're just going to add some random splotches like that. Could be deeper red, but I don't care. And we're going to, I'm going to add it along here like this, along the corner, because odds are if there's been a splatter here, it'd just be on the very corner that would get done. Keep going with that. I don't want to get marker pen all over my fingies. Not my fingies! Anyway, there we go, there's a bit of colour in there now as well, that's nice. Final bit, I think, and this is the exciting part. So, as you can see, there's a bit missing. Why is this missing? Well, would you believe if I told you I did it deliberately? Well, I didn't. I accidentally broke this, and this bit kind of just ripped out, but I'm going to stop doing that. I used that, and I jumped on it. And so, if I could find it, I don't know where the piece is now, I've got it somewhere. Basically, they became separate at some point. I have both of them, never find one without the other. But the cool thing is, there is an island here, and it is missing, obviously, from the map. And so, that's very intriguing to people. They may think it's just broken, I've just ripped that piece off, but come a few sessions down the line when I hand them that piece of paper and it fits into that map perfectly, all of a sudden they will have a new location to go to and an exciting adventure awaiting them. And I think that's where you truly bring your players into the game using props like this, because all of a sudden they are living it. They are the person to put that piece of missing map in the place, and all of a sudden go, guys, all these dots connect now, because now we've got this, it all makes sense. Which I think is just a cool thing. I just love rewarding my players and making them feel as smart as they can be. I think that's how you become a good DM. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with this now, I think. There are obviously certain ways we could improve it, add a bit more time with it, but for simplicity's sake, it's going to do its job for now, and I really, really love that. So yeah, with that, I think I'll leave you. But don't worry, we'll be back soon for another foray, expedition or adventure into history or anything else that I particularly fancy at that time. But in the meantime, have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.